Okay, now to proposed legislation in Columbus to keep certain registered sex offenders from working closely with children.
But exactly what kind of jobs would that cover? Now, we first told you yesterday on News 5 at 6 that 2 registered sex offenders were fired from a haunted house after a former coworker raised a red flag.
News 5 investigator Tara Morgan takes a deeper look now with a law professor about whether the bill would work as intended.
Right now, Ohio law doesn't prohibit registered sex offenders from working with children, but that doesn't mean they can.
Quite frankly, nobody wants the liability if something were to happen of having employed that person. So they're not going to get these jobs in the first place.
There are processes already in place to prevent it.
Your status as a registered offender is going to come up in any routine background check.
I uncovered background checks did not happen at Spooky Ranch Haunted House in Columbia Station, but the owners confirmed to me they will now. A woman who worked there says she quit after feeling uncomfortable with a habitual sex offender registered in Lorain County as a coworker.
And if they're going to have a place where children are going to be in the dark around people who are in costume and makeup, they should do background checks.
State Representative Al Catrona says Ohio is too lax on the issue. He's proposed a bill to prohibit Tier 2 and Tier 3 sex offenders from working alone with children. He started work on the legislation, he said, after discovering a snack shop in his district was run by 2 high-level sex offenders.
So the statute is very particular. It's not that you are employed by a company or agency that has contact with juveniles or with minors, but that the individual position is a position in which you would have extensive and unaccompanied conduct or supervision of a child or a minor.
Case Western Reserve University law professor Mike Benza points to vague language that leads to more questions about how it could work, for example, in a candy store or haunted house setting.
I don't know whether this statute would actually address the issue of somebody who's hired at a haunted house because they may not have either the exclusive control or unaccompanied control over a minor.
The bill would also require a detailed description of the job role and signed statement by their employer as part of the sex offender registry. Benza thinks the bill could create enforcement nightmares.
How does an employer make a decision that they do in fact want to hire this person in spite of their record without running afoul of this statute? How do prosecutors investigate these and make these decisions?
I'm News 5 investigator Tara Morgan.
Okay, and in our search for answers to all of that, we came across some reports saying Ohio had a law prohibiting certain levels of sex offenders from even handing out candy on Halloween. So we asked the Ohio Attorney General's office about that. We were told there is no such law at the state level, that something like this would be a case-by-case issue and would be up to the sex offender's parole officer to decide if charges should be filed.